Good morning. If this is your first time, shout out yourself in the comments so I can shout you out. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If this is not your first time still, let me know where you're tuning in from so I can shout you out. Good morning, Fafo Beef. How are you? Um, hey, Dennis. Long time. Okay, good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Instagram. I'm just going to jump right into it. So, my name is Aisha Chidowe. I'm an immigration attorney. I represent clients all over the United States with their family immigration matter. You can reach me 407 995 6567. Excuse me, I'm like swallowing my vitamins. Or you can send a WhatsApp 404-333-8751. Let's see what else. It's scrolling through the sticker or whatever it's called on Facebook and YouTube, and it's in my profile on Instagram if you want to save my number. So today I want to talk about the benefits of a VAWA petition. Um, and just, I think this week and last week, I've just been talking about the different people that qualify for VAWA, what VAWA is. So today I just want to focus on what the benefits are. Good morning, Poppy. Good morning, Cleopatra on YouTube. She says, God bless you for all you do. Thank you. I appreciate it. And same to you. Um, Okay. Let's talk about the benefits of a properly filed VAWA petition, and you potentially getting approved. So the first thing is, even though VAWA is a sad thing, in order for you to qualify for VAWA, you have to be in an extremely cruel relationship, an abusive relationship. So granted, that's sad, but I want to talk about the benefits of what can come out of you submitting this self petition, or you having the courage to submit this self petition. Of course, the biggest benefit, one, is your ability to gain your freedom and not be under the cloak or the threat of somebody who continues to abuse you, or tells you that you can never be a green card holder, you will never be anyone, or you can't do better than me and stuff like that. So just even that on its own should be enough benefit for you to self petition and get yourself out of that relationship. But I want to focus on the legal benefits. So first and foremost, when you submit a VAWA petition, if you get a prima facie determination letter, which is essentially a pre-approval that you get early on in the application process, basically what that covers is, not only does it cover you, it also covers your children who are under 21, whether your children in the United States or whether they're in whatever country you're from. Your children will become derivative beneficiaries. So what that means is that if you get approved for VAWA, your children are going to get approved for VAWA. And once your children get approved for VAWA, then they can go through a consular processing to come here and do their own green card application process, which is slightly different from how you do yours, because you probably be doing yours through an adjustment of status if you're in the United States. So that's the one thing. The second thing is that, most marriage-based cases, in order for you to petition, you need a financial affidavit of support. You need somebody who can financially support you, either your spouse or a joint sponsor. The good thing about VAWA petitions is that you don't need you need public assistance and public benefits. You're not going to be looked at as a public charge because you're a victim of abuse, as opposed to, say, a marriage case where you can't be taking public assistance, public housing, because you look like a public charge, and that could deny you from your case. And then another thing is that you will get a 10-year green card. So there's no conditional green card when you get approved for VAWA petition. You get a 10-year green card, and you become eligible to apply for citizenship 3 years later. So that's another benefit of it. And then, for those who worry about, okay, well, I still live with my spouse, I still live with my parent, I still live with my child, I don't want them to know that I'm submitting this petition. How do I handle that? So one of the things with VAWA is that confidentiality and victim safety is very important to USCIS, and it's also very important to me and my staff. So when you submit a VAWA petition, you usually have an option of listing a safe address. For us here, VAWA petitioners, typically their mails will come to our office. We will never send out a mail to a client without getting permission from the client, even if you live in the same place, because conditions change. Like, how do I know that your spouse is not there with you in the post office? So a client always has to say, this address is okay to send something to, and then you'll be sent, um, mail to that address. So USCIS won't do that. USCIS will not take any calls from your spouse or anybody for that matter, because there's always a risk that somebody could be pretending to be you and they're not you. So it has to be more of a formalized process to do it. So for those of you who qualify and worried about that, just know that you'll be protected. USCIS will protect you, and as long as you're not going to disclose that to your spouse, you should be fine. So those are some of the benefits of a VAWA self-petition. Oh, and then of course, another benefit is that you get your work permit and your travel permits, and you get that much earlier than before your approval. And then another critical benefit is that, unlike a marriage-based case where you have to prove that you entered into the country with inspection, with a VAWA self-petition, it doesn't matter how you entered the country. It does not matter how you entered the country. You can still petition that way without having to leave the United States at all for the process. Okay, so let me take some questions because I don't have much time today. So I'll get some questions. Ashani says the best at what she does. People listen to him. Listen to him. Dejan Bless says, what if my wife ungot the W-2? I don't understand what your question is. Good morning, Boo for the Boolas. Your name always cracks me up. Glad to meet you online today. Have a very important question. Shoot away. Do we have to file? Shay says, do we have to file taxes together? Nobody's putting a gun to your head to file taxes together, but should you file taxes together if you can? Absolutely. It's not a requirement, but if you can file taxes together and make your case easier, certainly file taxes together. If you can't file taxes together and you have a legitimate reason, because either maybe your spouse owes money or your spouse, you're not going to get any refund, or for whatever reason, then you can always file married filing separately. Some T-Miles says, what if I do not call a police during the abuse? How do I prove my statement? 11, even when it causes me emotional distress and depression. T-Miles, so when you are submitting a VAWA petition, any credible evidence is considered. A police report is not a requirement, especially when you're an undocumented or you've overstayed your time in the United States, because a lot of people who are dealing with that kind of abuse and have no paper are terrified of reaching out to law enforcement because they don't know if they call the cops for somebody else who's a U.S. citizen, whether they're the ones that are going to be deported. So it's not a requirement, but there's so many things to prove credibility or credible evidence to show that you experienced abuse. Just because I don't have a lot of time today, I can't start going through the list, but certainly schedule a consult with me and I'll be happy to, screen you to see if you would still qualify. 407-995-6567. Ade Conley says, good morning, the law. I appreciate you and my brother over the person I referred you to. I'm grateful. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so Bella says, yesterday I got an update stating my new card is being produced under my I360. What does that mean? Yay! It means that you've been approved for VAWA. Congratulations. That is awesome. So with VAWA cases, typically what happens is that your I360 green card, your I360 work permit will be approved before they send you the approval letter, but they're not going to print that card unless they've approved your VAWA. So you should probably get your approval letter. Sometimes, right now it takes a couple of months after your that I360 work permit is approved for you to get your approval letter, but it means you've been approved. So congrats. And then of course the next step is your green card adjustment of status. What are some things you should never say at a green card interview? Oh my goodness. It's really hard to think about one. I mean, I have some crazy story for days, certain things like clients of mine have said that have left me mortified. But one, you should never attack the officer or tell the officer that the officer has an attitude or why are you looking at me like that? And believe it or not, we've seen that happen before. So you don't ever want to ever do that, because you're basically putting yourself in a situation where the officer already doesn't like you. My take, and I tell this to every client, when you go into USCIS interviews, your goal is to be a humble person. This is not the time to be pompous or arrogant or to have an attitude. Just be humble. Just be humble. And when you go in there and answer the questions as they ask you personally, if they don't ask you a question, I don't believe in excess rhetoric. Don't go giving them extra. Just answer the question. We want to know about, how you did this, that. The question is very simple. Answer the question very simply. Okay. Alex says, how long does it take to get EAD after biometrics? Honestly, at this point, I don't know. Like this work permit stuff, it's crazy what is happening. Like personally, I'm very disappointed, that right now the administration is not pushing for us to expedite this work permits quicker, because prior to COVID, you could get a work permit in like 3 to 4 months. And then COVID started and it was like, 6 months on average. Right now, we're seeing like 8 months, 9 months. So it's ridiculous. So it's really, really hard to predict. Of course, when I give you that timeline, I'm lumping the majority of the people. There is still always going to be the people that are going to get it earlier, and some people are going to get it later. But honestly, it's really hard to say. I really don't understand what's going on. And all this started once they started issuing 2-year green cards, not green cards, 2-year work permits. The idea behind those 2-year work permits was so that the system was clogged with so many renewals. And so they're like, you know what, we're going to start giving people 2-year work permits, so then so many people are not applying for renewal because of COVID. But now it's just really hard to say. So if this is your first EAD, just budget somewhere between 6 to 9 months minimum from when you submitted. If this is a renewal, just budget somewhere between 9 to 12 months, at the very minimum, which is why if your work permit is about to expire within 6 months, you definitely want to try and start your renewal process. Okay. Graziella says, how much does it cost to apply for VAWA? I'll be happy to talk about that with you. Call me for a consultation, 407-995-6567. Shay says, what if my husband doesn't work? Well, what are you guys applying for? Are you applying for adjustment of status? Are you a VAWA applicant? So the answer to that will depend on what your status is. What if you've been divorced for less than 3 years, but more than 2 years? Are you asking for a VAWA qualification? The answer is no, you don't qualify. You have to be divorced for less than 2 years to apply for it. What does it take to hire you personally, not a representative from your firm? You hire me personally when you call my firm and sign a retainer. So that's all it takes, a retainer. Of course, I always have team members like every other law firm that help to gather documents and prepare documents, but anyone hiring me is hiring me and not a representative of my firm. Yeah, I may have an associate attorney reviewing stuff, but at the end of the day, and I talk about this all the time, there's no document. You can't see the box of documents right here on my floor right now. There's no document, there's no client's packet, there's no client's petition, no matter how minute the petition we're submitting, that I am not touching line by line, page by page, editing, removing. And that's why sometimes, for us lawyers, when clients like, send it today, send it today, send it today. I'm just like, listen, do you want to get approved or not? Yes, I can just be like, okay, put everything together, let's send it away, but, my goal when a client hires me is to look at your application with a critical eye and strategically and say, what is in here that is going to cause a problem for this client? What is in here that is going to make this client get denied? And that takes time to do, because I am not going to just be like, oh, here's a packet, blah, 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 as you can see this document here, and just, sign it off. I need to go through with a critical eye. So it doesn't take anything. Just hire the firm and you'll get me. All right, let's see what else. Someone said, does dress code matter at a green card interview? Because my interview is after my work hours. I'm a surgical tech. That's actually an interesting question. Dress code doesn't matter. You can wear whatever you want. However, so you dressing as a surgical tech because you're going after work is fine. One of the things, though, I always say to my clients is when you are going to USCIS for an interview, you always want to dress the way you would go to meet your spouses or your girlfriend or your boyfriend's parents for the first time, meaning you want to look respectable. You don't want the officer to look at this person and just be like, well, I'm not trying to, because implicit bias is real. People can look at you and be biased by your appearance, and automatically what was meant to be an easy interview becomes a Stokes interview because they're looking at you like, this person, so this is not even just for the immigrants that are applying. This is specifically for the US citizen spouses, because most immigrants will do their best, because this is really important to them. So they will do their best to go in there looking great and, prepared. But this is for you to be able to communicate that to your spouses. When even though they're US citizens and nobody's taking their citizens away from them, their action or inaction could affect your own case. So it's important that they also take it seriously. They also go there with humility and respect, and they also dress appropriately, for it. Arhan says, I got my receipt notice within 4 days of sending my papers in. Does this mean my case will go faster? No, it doesn't mean anything. It just means that the people, so first of all, it's not the officers that pull receipts. So usually there's a processing room that they process, packets that are coming in. It just means that whoever processed your case, like your files, process it quicker to send it to, whoever, but it doesn't mean anything. Bixby Shan says, can I submit all my paperwork at once? Well, the answer is going to depend on what paperwork you're submitting and what your own status is to determine if you qualify or not. Like with green card holders, for example, which also is actually another benefit of VAWA. If you're married to a green card holder and you've overstayed your time, with a typical marriage-based case, you can't submit an adjustment of status because you wouldn't qualify if you're an overstay, versus if you're a VAWA applicant. Right now, visas are currently available. So if you're a VAWA applicant and your spouse is a green card holder, you'll be able to submit everything together. So, the answer depends. Okay, one more question. Mm. Mm. Okay, so Dejan says, my wife only got a W-2 to show as tax. Is that okay? No, it's not okay. You will be getting a request for evidence to provide a tax return. If that is all you have, you must submit a tax return, or you must submit proof why you're exempt from that, meaning your spouse doesn't make enough money to file taxes. If you're not able to find a signed 1040, or you guys didn't sign your 1040 to submit with your W-2, 1040 is your taxes. You can go to the IRS website and get a tax transcript, which is actually my preferred method, as my clients will tell you, because I just don't want to deal with anybody sending anything back asking for anything else. But you need a tax or a reason why you're exempt. All right, guys, I gotta go. I know there are other questions, but I just don't have the time. I will try to be on live tomorrow. I might not be. I'm actually traveling tomorrow, but if I am, I usually come around this time, somewhere between 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Subscribe to my channel and then hit the notification button so that you know when I'm on live. All right, guys, I will see you later. Bye. Oh, yeah, and share this video if you found this helpful so that other people can benefit from what I'm talking about. Bye.